All right. Thank you for joining me on a Friday afternoon. I'm very sorry. It's just the only time I could get quiet in the house. My kids are off playing soccer, and I'm enjoying. The only thing here are dogs and me. So we're going to get going. I'm going to try and go through this interactive presentation. This is on how to develop course content inside of Brightspace. I'll give you a quick little orientation, kind of like a little 2-minute interface introduction in case you weren't at any of the Brightspace like initial trainings. And then I'll take you through actually how to build stuff. I don't have all the answers for everything yet, but I would like to tell you this is that the implementation and the task force that's been working on this has been working nonstop. And I'm going to give you some of the pieces of good news. Number one is with Brightspace, it is extremely integrated, as in, and what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, a student comes aboard and they have all of their technology credentials, they just pick up their registration. Sometimes you'd have to wait 24, maybe 48 hours for them to be, to appear inside of your course. That's not the case. Things are updated almost in real time. I can't say real time, but almost in real time, to where as soon as their registration hits, and if they already have their technology credentials already in the system, it populates the course extremely fast. So you're not going to have to deal with those delays for rolling registration. So that's really nice. Two, you're going to discover that, in fact, I don't know if Susan Harkness ended up sending this to everybody, but we've actually acquired Brightspace help desk services, and that is 24/7, 365 for students, for instructors, for just about anybody. It was an extra paid service, so this way it kind of helps with our poor IT help desk to deal with situations. So for students working late at night, they will have a solution to be able to help. And this way you're not getting the frantic 2 a.m. emails. And they're going to actually have somebody who can help them through whatever issue they're going through. So that's another victory for us. Okay, anyway, a little bit of news to kind of get you started. I am going to share my screen and walk you through a couple of things. Inside the chat box, I put a link to a resource. I'm going to hit the share button. Share right here. To a Brightspace website I've been creating. So this is for instructors. This website, which the link is now inside of the chat box. If you want to go ahead, feel free to click on it and just bookmark it for later. Is one that I've been developing just using Google Sites. It has a link to actually, brightspace.ndm.edu. Eventually, once Joule is completely sunset, you can then just go to the popular resources on the Notre Dame main webpage. So if you go to ndm.edu, you go to the top, there's usually the popular resources for students, for faculty and staff, etc. If you go there, once winter begins and Brightspace is now taking over as our primary learning management system, that link and those resources, those quick links, should work for you to be able to get to Brightspace. And also eventually, once the resource becomes more, widely used, once it actually becomes, live, you should just be able to do a Google search for Brightspace at Notre Dame and come up with it as the very first link. So that's a bunch of ways just to gain access to it. So the website I've given you, I put 2 integrated documents here, and that's just quick start guides for instructors. The first one's just a 6-page tutorial on how to do just about some of the more important things that you would have to do in Brightspace, like just how to create a post, how to do announcements, how to send an email through the system. The nice thing about the Brightspace is it's connected to your Notre Dame email, so you don't have to jump in and out of the of your email client and go into Brightspace and vice versa. You can set it up to where your email account will make a copy of every email that you send with Brightspace. It'll make a copy of it inside of your outgoing and ingoing mail. So you'll get a copy of everything in your own system, in your own mailbox. That's nice because it's the systems talking to each other. So just a positive. There's other pieces of information here about just how do I share course materials with my students, just anything, just a quick guide for you, like, okay, I just forgot this, let me go and get this. There's also, it's also very friendly with an app called Pulse, which I haven't gotten to play with yet. So if students want to kind of track how they're doing in Brightspace, they can use Pulse to actually, students could actually use it on the go if they have to. And if you really need to go into the weeds with something very specific, there's also this longer manual, which is Brightspace Getting Started Manual for instructors. So this is everything, just going through all the different terminology, going through every single little item and piece inside of, in every little nook and cranny inside the interface, there is a little bit of information on here and what to do with it. I am not going to bore you to death. It's 50 pages, but it is very helpful as a resource. If that's still just too one-dimensional for you, if you need more hands-on approach, there's also the quick start training. So the webinars. These webinars are like 11-part on-demand web series to where you go and you watch tutorials on how to do absolutely everything inside of Brightspace. Everything from how to just log in all the way to building and also facilitating your course. You can also then belong to Brightspace Community, which is an actual pretty well-established learning community that's filled with solution guides and suggestions and resources that are just built and shared amongst them. As a Notre Dame, faculty member, you have access to this for free and the directions in there and how to join it. What I mentioned to Sister Mary before we got started is that Brightspace also is extremely present on YouTube. They have anywhere from like 70 to 80 YouTube tutorials on how to do just about everything using Brightspace. The nice thing about it is it's not like a 60-minute webinar. They're usually 2 to 3 minute quick just-in-time videos that you can watch and answer your question quickly instead of having to spend going through like a reference guide of 10 or 15 minutes, wasting your valuable time. You can go here and watch it for 2 minutes. And the nice thing is it also splits it up by what exactly you're looking for. So if you're an instructor, you go to an instructor playlist. If you're an administrator, like sometimes I have to be, I go to a specific playlist. So it's very so there's playlists by like how you're using it as how you are as a system user. And eventually there's also down here, there's the link to the pre-recorded sessions that at least I'm doing. Eventually when Dr. Harkness sends it out, I'll make sure to give that to you too. Chat box, let me see. So you can also access by, yep. If you type in Brightspace tutorials, you should be able to find it, Sister Mary. Let's see. Okay, so let me go into Brightspace. Oh, no problem. And sorry if it's private or semi-private or if it's public. Apologize. I'm just I'm going to kind of go into my little my little mode of training. Okay. So here is the Brightspace interface. Okay, it is fairly user-friendly. This is kind of like the organization level, as in it's meant for like for Notre Dame as a whole. I think eventually it's going to go to also department level. I'm not 100% sure about that. As in, for instance, organization would be like Notre Dame. Department level would be like the School of Education, the School of Pharmacy, School of Nursing. I don't know if it's going to go down any further, but the nice thing is it gives you access to just what you need just in time. I'll give you a quick little 2-minute introduction. I did this previously in my other training. Anytime you want to go back to this main like large page, you can always click on the Notre Dame icon and it'll take you back. If you ever want to see all of your courses, you can click this. Some people call them graham crackers. I call them Hershey bars because they kind of remind me of Hershey bars and s'mores. It's the time of year, You can get your massive list of all the courses that are connected to your account. Looks like way too many. However, you can also then, if you want to showcase or highlight certain things, there's another section right here, I like these visual tiles better. You can put what's called a pin on them. So if you hit a pin, I'm just going to hit pin. What it does is it makes it, it highlights it. It selects it as a very important course for the moment. I can also select all my pin courses. So this way I'm only seeing my pin courses at the moment. I can go to all, which is I'll see them all. I can also then go by, for instance, if I have a course in fall of 2020, I can see just those courses. I'd like you to go ahead, and if you're right there, just go to your sandbox. It should be, if you see sandboxes, that's fine. If not, you should see one that says sandbox. And just go ahead and enter it. You may see a little thing that says here about this widget. I'll talk to you a little bit later about that. It's just go ahead and exit out of it. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just, it's a new feature they just put in the system, I think, yesterday. I'm not playing with it yet. I'm sticking with what I was going to train you in today. If you probably see the top right-hand side, you see my name. That's kind of like the profile, your account menu. If you ever want to see it, sorry, my dogs are starting to get feisty and wrestle. Stop, stop. If you ever want to see what your students see as a learner, you can always go here and click where it says view as learner. And this way it's going to change the interface to see you now only have access to the things your students will see once they log into your class. You can always switch it back by just clicking on the icon one more time and hitting the X button. It'll just turn you right back into your full-blown instructor credentials are on. As you can see, this keeps on popping up. It's gonna be really annoying. Okay, so I am now in my sandbox. Your sandbox looks different. It's no, they're just basically safe places to test out and tinker without any repercussions. Now, from the organization level, you notice that now my course navigation menus have now increased in number, where if I go back out, if I click on the icon here, I'd go back out, I'd have a lot less. I would still see NDMU resources, Brightspace help, and I'd probably also see my home. Now I see course home, coursework, and course tools. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through basically in the sandbox, let's just build part of our course. Okay, so let's just start building it. I'll show you how it's organized, how to build content, how to put it in. I have some just silly files that I can use just to put things in to show you the entire experience building things. If you go to coursework, the very first menu item is content. I'd like you to go ahead and click that. And you'll see that I have module 1, the beginning. You don't have anything unless you've been playing in trainings already. Okay. You kind of have to decide how you're going to organize and structure the hierarchy of your course moving forward. Now, I'm not talking about any courses that have kind of migrated over from Joule. It tends to keep the same hierarchy, the same labeling system. However, moving forward, if you look at Brightspace as you revise courses or decide, you know what, I'd rather do it this way. It's a perfect excuse to actually clean some stuff up. This is what I'd like to do. Let me go ahead and talk about just the hierarchy, because Brightspace does a good job of helping students and instructors get through the content that you want to progress through in an organized manner. It also puts a lot more tools at your fingertips. So module 1, I kind of wanted to play with and build today, so this way I could get to know the tools a little bit better. If you come over here, just type in where it says add a module, just type one in. I'm just going to type in module number 2 since I already built number 1. I guess I'll call this one the middle. So go ahead and just add yourself a module, and you should see that you have module 1. In my case, number 2 is now at the left in that table of contents area. When you build this, if you say, for instance, accidentally get something out of order, like, oh, my 2 and 1 were flipped around, what do I do? If you see these little these little, I guess the best way, they almost look like ice cube trays. I'm really terrible at coming up with good terms for icons, but they're almost like grip tape. You can actually grab them and you can actually reorder them if you want to. I'm going to grab it and do it the same way. I'm going to bring it back down and reorder it properly. Okay. If you want a module to be invisible to your students, just like Jewel, look for the eye and visibility. Right now it's invisible. You can see the eye is crossed out. Visible, the eye is open. If you want to do date restrictions, when you build your modules, I think as they're imported into your course, I think they're going to be invisible. So this way, all of your content's not out in the open for your students. You may have to go and, of course, make things visible for them. So please just be aware of that. You can just make the whole entire module visible, or you can also do it individually by each individual little item you put in here. Okay, so you can also put date restrictions, as in when is this going to be, when's the start date for this module? When is there a due date for it to be done? Is there an end date? These are kind of like when a door opens, when a door closes for this. A more advanced feature is release conditions, as in when is this going to be released out to the student? So if it's more self-paced, my suggestion is not to worry. That's more of like an advanced feature. I suggest exploring that as you become more of a power user. You can also add a description to whatever this module is, or whatever this, if you do yours weekly, like this is week 1, you could do it that way. For week 1, we're studying like, leadership policy in schools. Okay. You can go ahead and just put a description of whatever they're going to do in that module. There's also other places where you can put other content. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pretend that, I'm just going to leave these alone for now. If I leave them alone and they're visible, it means it's automatically opened up to my students to see. I'm going to go to coursework. Actually, I can just go right here to where it says upload or create. And I'm going to start with, let's see, create a file. And the reason being is, this I find is the most useful place to start at, because it's just like building a website inside of your course. So I'm just going to call this Module 2 Plan. And in a second, I'll show you why I'm calling it Module 2 Plan. Now, different from Joule, you can actually pick different document templates to populate down below. Right now, you see that there's this big text box. It's all empty space. Boring, right? You could develop something really nice in there, directions, resources, whatever. However, the nice thing, and this is really nice for Brightspace, is you can actually come up with these built-in templates that can actually provide you with some structure and some nice functionality. I'm going to do module introduction, and I'll show you why. I just clicked on that template, and it's now filled in this section with a little introduction. It also has my learning objectives for this module. All I have to do is I have to come over. I have to just get rid of this text and type in my new text. And I apologize if I misspell something, just apologies. You can come in here and type in your learning objectives. And if you're not happy with this, there's a lot of other resources in here. There's course introduction. So if you want to do, yes, I'm just going to hit replace, no big deal. You can actually put in more information here on just a brief course introduction. The widget that you saw at the very beginning, that pop-up screen that kept on annoying me, that's also potentially could become kind of like a course introduction page. It's forced to the very front because this way students are forced to see the syllabus first. They're forced to see an introduction from you. It's very helpful. You can also, there's a lot of other things in here. If you want to do like a video lecture piece, if you click on video lecture, it actually gives you the area to where you can put your video. You can put, gives you step-by-step information on how to put your video in, how to embed YouTube videos. You can also, of course, give like a little introduction to what the video is about, a citation if you want to, a link to the transcript, whatever you'd like. So there's all these different templates that help to structure how you're going to present the information. So you don't have to be a graphic designer. It's all in there for you to use. I'm just going to go back to module introduction. Okay. So let's pretend I'm done. I have all this. If you want to hide it from users too, you can hide it from users, but I'm just going to keep it open. And I'm going to hit save and close. And now you should see underneath my module 2, I'm going to go back out to module 2. So I'm just using my breadcrumbs. Now you see that module 2 is right there for you. So if I go in there, I can then start to edit it again if I want to. If I like it, I keep it alone. I just leave it alone. So are there any questions on create a file? This is what it's called, create a file. It's number 3 down in your list. Why would you do this? It's helpful because you're building content right within the page. You don't have to bring in a Word document. You can still do that. But this is actually building stuff in the system, and it's keeping it nice and organized for your students. In Joule, you could just do this manually. I like to do this because it gives them structure for all their modules or the weeks or the directions. Okay. Now, let's say you have a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation. Can you upload files here? Absolutely. Just go to this first button that says upload files. And again, you do the whole fetch and retrieve utility. You find whatever you want. I'm going to find a resource a little smaller because a lot of these presentations are really big. I don't want to choke the system up with content that's just too large. Let me try and see if I can find something a little smaller to put up there. Let's see. Okay. This one's small, so I'll hit add. So I just added that. Let's just pretend that this is my module 2 presentation. If I don't like how that looks, I can always if this is this is the wrong title, I can always go to here. Oh, actually, no, I should be able to just go right here. Hold on. Darn it. Hit the back button for just a second. I want to rename this. There used to be a button where I could just rename it. Edit properties in place. There's an easy way to rename it. Let's see if I can find it. Edit title. So I can edit the title just by clicking on it. I'm just going to put this as Module 2 Presentation. And hit the return button, and now it's fixed. So I'm going to go back out now. And the nice thing is that it'll actually give a preview mode, so students don't. If you're ever using a lot of PowerPoint files, they can become really big files. Sometimes they're so big that they're not easy to email. They might take a long time to download. Maybe a student just wants to go and read something real quickly. They don't want to download your gigantic 50-slide presentation. They just want to preview it or read the content. The nice thing about this is it will actually do like a preview mode for your PowerPoint to where they can just go through slide by slide without even opening up PowerPoint. So that's a nice little feature. It actually makes things go a little bit faster for your students. They can read content. They don't have to download it. And some students might not have PowerPoint because of just the expense of it. And you could drag in you can put Microsoft Word documents in here, PDF files, pretty much your standard common document type will go in here just fine. Excel spreadsheets. Just if you're a Mac user, just avoid using things like Keynote or Pages. Just make sure to save them to a common file type like a doc or a PowerPoint or an Excel spreadsheet or worst comes to worst, you can always save it as a PDF if your students aren't actually using it as a consumable or as a template. They can always just use a PDF if worst comes to worst. Okay, so that was just me showing you how to upload a file. Okay, so video. The nice thing about this, not only can you upload video, not only can you upload audio, you can also just record it right in the interface. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on video. You can hit the upload button. It'll take up to a 1 GB size file. That's a big file. So you should be good there. And if that's still an issue, you can also find, if you find a link online, like you find a YouTube link or some sort of, you can either copy and paste the link, or you can even find the embed code where it'll actually just play right inside of Brightspace. So you can pick either one. And it'll give you more information if you're ever in doubt about your video type, if it will end up going into the system nicely. Let's see, I can put a video up here. So let me just hit upload. I had a really small video. I want to save to the side. Remember correctly, this was a really small file. Okay, yep, that was small. Okay, that was small. So I can then put this up as, I don't know, module 2 movie. You can obviously add subtitles if you'd like. I'm going to hit the save button. And now it's actually built in here with information. I can also make it invisible. I can allow my students to download it. If it's a file, they can actually download it. You can even edit the video if you want to. I'm going to go back out to module 2 and just show you what the interface, what it looks like now. So now I'm starting to see, I've put quite a bit of content in here. I've put my plan, I've put a PowerPoint presentation up, I put a video, all within module 2. Okay, it hasn't affected anything in module 1 at all. I'm just going to keep going. Okay, showed you how to upload a file, showed you video, audio. Let's say for instance there's a podcast you want to share or some sort of audio file. It's much the same way. You find it, you link it, you put it in here. If you want to create a link, let's say for instance, I don't know, let me see, go back to my chat box for a second. There was that link I had here. It's just how to use Brightspace. I'll just use that real quick. Spell correctly. Open as external resource. Yes, hit create. And now it is, I have it as opening in a new window. Anytime you can, ask it to open in a new window, because what will happen is it's going to open up a window that's not going to force them out of Brightspace. It'll just open up an additional window. You always try and get your resources to open up inside a new tab or window. You never want it to open up in the same window, or they may get lost where they're at. Okay, so now let's open. I'm going to hit go back, and we should see it right there. Here's the link. Okay. Assignment. Okay, so they've gone through all of this module. It's time for an assignment. Okay, so I'm going to do a module 2 paper, I guess. Okay. Once standards are imported, you can actually link standards to assignments. Score out of, you could do it ungraded, or you can put points if you'd like. I'm going to put this as 10 points. Due date, you can enter the due date, and then it's a nice job because it gives you an interface. I'm going to make it due November 30th at 11:59 p.m. And you can go ahead and type instructions here. Instructions. You can also record audio or record video. So if you actually want to tell them, like, you know, record like a video of you giving them instructions, you can. If you'd rather record your, you know, your voice giving them instructions, you can. If you want to upload a document, say for instance, if you have like directions in Word that you just want to put up there, you can do that. You can also link it to something. You know, if you want to link it to a website like you know, let's say for instance, I'm having them analyze, you know, academic standards or something like that. I might link the standards there so they can have that just right there as they go. Okay. Over here, you will see that there's some availability dates and conditions. You can open and close this almost like the modules to where you have it available or have it unavailable. So if I come here, start date will be, it's usually, if you're going to set it up, it's usually automated to where as soon as you hit the date, it's going to start at that time. So this will become available the end of, was it tonight? Then end date would be, you know, this is when the module will close. Maybe I'm closing this on the 28th or something like this. If you don't fill this in, just leave it alone. It'll just automatically be open to your students as long as it's visible to them. But I'm not going to do any of these because I want my students to be able to see it so you could see it. Submission and completion. So this is important for how the students are going to give the assignment to you, okay? Is this a file submission? Are they going to give you like a Word document? Are they going to send you in a PowerPoint or Excel or PDF? Is it a text submission, as in, are they just going to, do you want them just to type it inside the interface? Like for instance, if this is like a journal entry, they could type it right in here. You don't even have to download a Word document. If it's something like a diary entry or a reflection or something like that, you can do a text submission if you want to. An on-paper submission means they're handing you an actual physical document, okay, which means that it's not going to give you a place to like turn back in a digital copy because you don't need it since you're going to probably just be dealing this like a paper-based assignment. Or if you just observe something in person, for instance, you observe like a lesson performance, you can just observe in person, you can type your feedback, and then of course give them points. I'm just going to keep this as a file submission. For files allowed per submission, it comes up as a default as unlimited. That means they could put 2, 3, 4. Maybe you have multiple lessons, or maybe you want to see a rough draft and a final draft after they're done. If you do unlimited, that means they could put in multiple documents. If you just want them to stick to one file, you just click on one file. It means they can give one file only. Submissions, all submissions are kept. Only one submission is allowed, or only the most recent submission is kept. Again, that's really up to you. I've always leave things unlimited. I always leave all submissions are always kept. This way, in case something happens, there's a hiccup or something, whatever. Now, this is kind of nice too, is you can actually put your email address in here. And when somebody submits something, you get an email. So that becomes nice if you just don't want to, you know, if you just don't want to keep on babysitting your assignment thing, or maybe somebody turns something in very early, you want to go and assess it, you're going to get email notifications. You can also put in, say for instance, if you have multiple instructors or you have multiple advisors, or you are team teaching, you can put multiple addresses in here so multiple people get an email if they're interested. Evaluation and feedback, you can actually add a rubric. So this is the nice thing. You can make annotation notes tools available for assessment, meaning that if they put a document in here, you can then do annotation tools inside. So it becomes like a document where you can actually write over, mark over, and circle and stuff. Helpful if you're going to be handing this in digitally, and they're going to be handing it if you're going to hand it back to them digitally. And this is also nice too, so you can kind of decrease the amount of bias in your assessment practices. You can hide the student name during your assessment. Just ask them not to obviously put it on their Word documents. Okay. So I'm not going to add a rubric right now. I am going to have another section in which I show people how to build rubrics. I just wanted to kind of get you started on figuring out an assignment. So I'm gonna hit save and close. And now you're gonna see that show up underneath module 2. Right down here, module 2 paper. Now, if my students go to coursework and they go to assignments, they're also gonna see that module 2 paper as well. This is the one I built for module 1. So here are my assignments. And I'm starting to see all these assignments here. So they're starting to populate. This is what my students will see as well. Okay, so let me go back to content again. And we're gonna keep just building because why not? There's a lot more stuff here. Okay, new discussion. So if you want to set up online discussions, it's just as easy as you would do it in Joule. Okay, I'm just going to call this module 2 discussion. Okay. I want to do a new form. Let's see. Call this why do you like the Earth? I was really on a Earth science trip when I was going through doing these assignments. So I had asked a lot of questions in my test about the solar system. Okay. So I can give my instructions here. Answer whatever. Nice thing is too, you can embed images. You can put links in here. You can put video. If you want to, if I click on video, you can link to different things here. Let's see. And you would hit the save button. And now you'll see that this is module 2. You see the prompt, which I apologize, it's just gibberish. I want to speed up. You can, right now it's invisible. I can make it visible. Assessment, add a grade item. As in, if I want this out of points, I can come down here to assessment and I want it to be out of, let's say, 5 points. Okay. Once I hit save, it is now out of 5 points. So I don't have to constantly be jumping out of the discussion. I can just score as I go. And now it's also populated my grade book. So that is a discussion. Ask me, it's a lot. Oh, you can also, I think this is bookmark and subscribe. Yeah, you can bookmark this and then it'll make it an important component, I believe, of your actual course. I'm trying to see if I can find a subscription service. Users can't post anonymously, no approval required. Users can see all posts. So you also have options here too if you want to choose, like, if you want to choose any information, like add date and restrictions if I want to. So I can actually do release conditions, which I'm not going to get into that right now because release conditions are if you do something in my course, then it will release the discussion, then you can do it. So let's say, for instance, if you watch the video, then you can do this discussion. It is a nice process, but it's a little more advanced. I want us to be able to walk before we can run. Again, availability, start date, due date, end date. You put the dates down that you want. I'm just going to hit update, and I will go back to coursework. I'm just going to go back to module 2. And you can see the discussions now here and ready for them. Remember, at any time, if you don't like the order of your module, you can always just drag things up and put things in the right order. Okay, so new assignment, new discussion. Okay, quiz. Okay, so you can build quizzes in here. So I'm just going to call this module 2 quiz. You can give students the instructions. Right now it's hide from users. That is, it's hidden, it's blocked. Nobody can see it right now. So this way you're kind of keeping it private. You'll enter your instructions, complete this quiz. Okay. Yeah, I'm not very good at directions right now. save. Okay, this is where you start again. Here are mine. Here I can actually build the instructions in. And then if I want to get going, I can start building. I can put how much the points are worth. You know, let's say, for instance, this is going to be 10 points again. Okay, I'm just going to put add new frame. Oh, okay. So you can also do a great item. We can just call this. I think this is just quiz. I'll just call it quiz 2, just for the sake of having it built. Let's save. Okay, so let's okay. So quick quiz setup. That's the important one to go to. This is where you can actually start building stuff. Okay. So underneath here, you'll see that there's quiz questions, add and edit quizzes. So I'm going to go to add edit quiz and show you the types of questions you can ask. You can also import quizzes. So that's kind of nice too. But for now, I'm just going to hit new questions. True or false, multiple choice, multi-select, written responses, short answer, multi-short answer, fill in the blank, matching, ordering, arithmetic, and significant figures. I'm just going to build, you know, 1 or 2 questions real quick just to show you. So this is true or false. I just enter the text in here. Let's see. Jupiter is the largest. Okay. Answer is true. Thought I was goofing up for a second there. Hit save, and it's in there. Okay, and it's worth 1 point. I didn't actually click it because the default is 1 point. Now add a multiple choice question. And let's see. Which planet do they suspect has intelligent life? I know I'm being smart aleck, but it is Friday night. And if you want to, you can always add more answer choices. You can also randomize the answer order, so this way they can obviously they, you know, it's not like they can copy off them if you're taking this in a test center or something like that. I make sure to include my answer key here. You'll see what the question looks like, and you hit save. And as you can see, the questions are being populated here. And you just keep on going. You keep on building the types of questions that you want. And there's a bunch of different ones. It takes a little bit of tinkering, but eventually you get it. Okay. So right here are the kind of the quiz directions. Are there specific restrictions? Okay. Right now it's hidden from users. I can make it available. So here's where, if you need to open it up at a specific time, like it's, for instance, maybe you're going out of town, but you need to open a quiz up on Saturday morning, you can go here and say, has a start date and has an end date. You can also, of course, put the times down. Let's see. You can do timing if you want it open for whatever, how many minutes. So right now the default's 2 hours. And you can click show clock, so this way it's timing down as they go. You can also give them a grace period, I believe, too. So this way you can give them like a 5-minute grace period if they just keep going, and if there's like they're having issues with just getting it up there. It can also treat it differently as well. So there's a lot of just different choices that these people can use, that you can use as you set up your quiz. Okay. I'm just going to make it visible so this way you see it. As you can see, the assessment is just out of 2 points. It can go as high as you want it to. And you'll see that module 2 quizzes down here. The final little aspect that I was going to show you is, let's see, oh, the update, and I'm just going to cancel that. Okay. Is the new survey. So there is a survey feature in here, which is nice. So you don't have to go and use Google Forms. You don't have to go out and use, you know, like Survey Monkey or something like that. You can just, if you want to do a quick little Module 2 survey, go, users, please complete this survey. Save. And then I can start putting in the types of survey questions I want. So survey setup. Okay. I can, of course, add categories if I want to, add a category. And again, if you have any questions, there's always these little question marks that'll help you. Associating a category with a survey allows surveys to be grouped by category and survey lists. I'm just going to leave that alone because I don't need it. You can give instant feedback if you want to. You can make the results anonymous. I'm just going to go ahead and just add one question. So let's do new. And again, true or false, multiple choice, multi-section, a lot of the same questions you saw. And you can also do a Likert scale too. I'll do a Likert scale for fun. Okay. So module 2 survey. Introductory text, 1 to 5, description. You can also put images in a lot of things too. So if you need images, if you have to add images to questions, if you have to add images to anything, a lot of times you'll find the insert image here as well. It'll take mostly JPEGs and PNG files, mostly your common image files. So I'm just going to say select on the scale with 1 being the lowest, how excited you are to learn about the solar system. One to 5, you can do 1 to 10 if you want to. You can do agreement scale, whatever you'd like. I'm just going to stick with that. And let's see. And if you ever don't know what it's going to look like, you can always hit save, and you can always hit preview to see what it looks like. See, I had an error, so I had to fix this. Let's see. Which ones is, let's see. Don't like, really like. Hit save. And then I can also, let's see, total question. Let me see. I'm just going to click back out there and see if I have. You can always click preview too to see what the question's going to be like. Let's see, select on the scale with 1 being, so I would fix this to be 5 instead. Oh, actually no, it was 2 choices, so I just messed up the tool accidentally. But you can kind of get your idea. If there's a statement like, I really like, you know, the solar system, they might mark it down as a, you know, oh, I really like it a 4 or something, or I don't really, you know, do you want to, you know, do you like math? And then you can choose it that way as well. So I just goofed up on building this, but kind of get the idea of how to build the survey. And the data just comes right into here so you can see it. All right. I have about 450. That's pretty much everything about building and I'll bring this right back to the main course home. Okay. And as you go to coursework and you go to content again, as you see your module 1, your module 2, you can just keep on building to your heart's content. There is also the ability to actually create a submodule. I'm trying to find it right here. Add a submodule. If you want to add a submodule, that is if you want to kind of separate things. Basically, if you want to do like, well, here's the readings, here's the readings, the resources, and the assignment, or the readings, the resources, and the discussion. You can pretty much set the submodule down as if it's a multi-component like module. So anyway, it's just like the outline of a paper. You have a main module. You can also have submodules underneath it. I personally don't use them a whole lot. About 6 or 7 minutes, I can turn it over. I'm gonna hit stop share. I'll hit stop share. I did get some stuff in the chat box. Sister asked about, do you get to establish categories? Yeah, I just botched the formation of and creating the Likert scale, but you can. I just messed up. You just have to go in and tinker with it. I just did it wrong. What kind of formatting do we need to import a pre-existing quiz? Jewel, that's probably a good question to read up. I would go, and since I'm not planning on importing something from, like, for instance, a CVS file, I know you could do it that way. However, it probably does give very specific formatting directions. I would go into the Brightspace community and just read about importing quizzes. You'll be able to find the information, the exact directions on how to do it. Yes, Kenny, you should be able to. Again, same thing I said about Jewel. You should be able to just read about how to configure the file once you bring it in. And again, when you bring them in, a lot of times you have to be very specific on how you bring it in. Let's see. I never saw the link that you said would be in the chat with the doc. Rachel, I'll put it up here in just a sec. Let's see, actually, I can click on it and give it to you right now. And I'll put it in here right now. Let's see. There you go, Rachel. It's in there now. And I'll keep on putting more content in here. So, like, for instance, this video will go in there sometime tonight or tomorrow. YouTube sometimes takes a little bit of time to process, especially for an hour-long video. Sister Mary said, I think I missed how to embed the forum. For the forum, I'm trying to think about embedding. If you mean including or creating a new forum, it's just going to content and click on discussion, and then you can select to create new forums, or if you want to just click as the main discussion, you can go.
I think you were saying something about if you want them to look at a video and discuss it or something, you would just embed it in there.
Oh, I was talking about an embed code for the video. Okay. So so if you go to YouTube, and this is pretty much the same for any like video sharing or anything. When it comes to the tools, you can share it two ways. You can either just do the view link where it's just the youtube.com blah, 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 blah. Or there's a special code. It's a really long batch of HTML coding where instead of clicking on a link and going there, it's right there populated inside of Brightspace. You can see the video, watch it inside of the video without going out to YouTube. So that's the embed code I mean. If you, let me see. I'm trying to show you kind of like an example of a YouTube. Let me hit stop share real quick. Let's show you what it looks like. Okay, here we go, sister. I'm hitting the share screen one last time. Boop. Okay, so if I come down to here, you see where it says share. It gives me a bunch of different choices. There's this embed code right here. See all this gobbledygook right here?
Yeah.
If I were to copy that and put that where it says embed code, that's where it'll end up. It'll end up going into Brightspace. It'll play it right inside of Brightspace.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. I think I got most of the chat box. Are there any other questions?
Ryan, this is Angela. If I have content that's in my Joel site that resources and things that I will want to put in here, will there be an easy way to just bring them over, or how will that import export work?
I haven't gotten to play with it yet because the only course that I've been able to see it happen to so far was they were hand-holding me through a course auditing process, where what happens is Brightspace was like part of the contract was they take a look at a course that's been built like in Joule. They take a look at it and they say, here's what you could do once you bring it over to Brightspace to make it better, more engaging, more interactive, using all the features. That's the only way I've seen it done right now. But from what I gather, all of that data is making its way over to the system. I don't have the exact directions on how to do it yet, Angela, but sorry for the long story. Short story is it will be easier to do. I just don't have the exact directions at the moment. I want to make sure that I bounce off the directions once it's done and ask Krissa. A lot of that data is going to be coming over slowly. They had to just put priority on getting the winter courses up.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, you should be able to just without a problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Well, I'm going to give you back 2 minutes of your life, everybody. Thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate the support. I'll have the video up. If there's anything, just please reach out to me, and I'll try my best to help you out because I'm also learning.
Thanks so much, Brian.
Oh, my pleasure. You take care and enjoy your weekend.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Ryan.
Take care,
Have a
everybody.
great weekend.
Thanks.